Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nelson Nightline, Shaw Cable's live phone-in talk show. I'm Morrie Zaitlin, and I'll be your host tonight, along with my regular co-host, Marianne Bond. Tonight's show is the final show of the season, and we're going to take a look back at the past year, as we also take a look ahead to see what 1993 may bring for the residents of the West Kootenay. We have a busy lineup tonight with a slate of special guests, a full slate. As usual, we're also going to feature on Nelson Nightline Street Talk interviews and have telephone lines open for those of you who wish to phone in. The telephone number to call in is 354-4200. We'd really like to hear from you tonight. Now I'd like to start by introducing my co-host Marianne Bond. Hi Marianne. And my two guests, Marty Horswill and Greg Utzig. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, good to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Marty, you hold the education chair for the City of Nelson, and I know you've had a busy year with your Post-Secondary Education Advisory Committee. Can you highlight for us what 92 has brought and what you're looking forward to in 93?
Well, 92 has been spent in anticipation and lengthy and frustrating anticipation of the long-anticipated announcement of the provincial commission we thought it was going to be on post-secondary education. Just within this past month, we've finally had the announcement of it, and we have to change our vocabulary now and start referring to it as a review panel. But in any case, Dr. Fulton has been given the task of studying the needs, and we're hopeful that the discussions and work that's gone on over the past year will allow the city to make as strong a presentation to Dr. Fulton's review panel as possible, and that sometime in the course of 93, I understand she's to make her report late in the year, sometime around November, so it may not come within 93 itself. It may actually be early in 94 before we know the results of that, but we're certainly expecting, as everybody else in the community is, that the result will be the restoration of significant additional post-secondary educational activities in our community.
Excellent. Something really to look forward to for 93.
Well, it certainly is something that the community's been waiting a long time now. It's going on close to 10 years since the former David Thompson University Centre closed, so the community has been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. So we need to work hard at our presentation and work together.
Any idea when Dr. Fulton, who has been, as you mentioned, head of this review panel, will be in Nelson or slated to come to Nelson?
We haven't heard anything on the actual scheduling of activities. Yeah.
Marty, there seems to be in the paper the past little while some interaction going on between Selkirk and NUC as far as taking sides on something like this. What is your feeling that's going on? It's obviously an orchestrated PR campaign. Some of the letters seem to be very similar in content on both sides. What's going on? Are people taking sides to be Selkirk College versus NUC? Is that going to cause some conflict in this situation?
Well, I think that historically that problem has existed, and it has been part of the difficulty for the city in these last couple of years in anticipating this opportunity and trying to develop a unified position within the city. It is obviously partly a reflection of the fact that Selkirk is a regionally mandated facility, and it cannot look exclusively at the City of Nelson as it develops its plans. Whereas those of us in Nelson who have been calling on the government to restore the programs that used to be here and the institutions that used to be here are basically making a case for the City of Nelson. Not that we view that program as only serving the City of Nelson. Obviously it's going to serve the total area, and it has to be set up and given a role to play that serves not only the Kootenays but the whole province. But nonetheless, it's seen in some quarters as a Nelson-only proposition, and I think that was why the announcement was challenging people to sort of set that parochialism aside and start thinking in terms of what the whole region needs and how those needs can best be met. And I think Nelson has a very strong case to make as the logical center for a major post-secondary educational institution because of the nature of this community. People come to this community for education even without that major government support. So how much more true would that be if the government support were there?
Right, but what are you getting, what messages are you getting from Selkirk College? Are they meeting, do they meet with you people when you're working on your
Oh yeah,
planning?
Selkirk's been involved in the committee. And
Because it seems like an orchestrated campaign going on in my mind.
well, I don't know. I mean, certainly there seems to be some kind of a campaign going on in Castlegar, and you know, that's regrettable. I think this is an opportunity for everybody in the Kootenays to, you know, to look to the region's needs, and shooting at each other is, I don't think, the best way to achieve it.
Minister Perry has asked Dr. Fulton to look at an innovative solution or idea to bring to this whole issue. And certainly anything that comes out of this will ideally complement any of the existing institutions, regardless, and that there shouldn't be this animosity or friction that you've mentioned, Marty.
Well, I think the general recognition that there's a great shortage of educational opportunities for British Columbians. I think there was something around 10,000 students turned away from the doors of post-secondary education this past year. So for Nelson to suggest that an institution of I don't know, 1,000 students or something, it's only 1/10 of those who were turned away this year. So it's you know, it's not unreasonable, and it's certainly needed.
Okay, well, I've got great hopes for this review panel, but time is
No,
running
on a
out.
brighter note, the Kootenay School of the Art has completed its feasibility study, and I guess you've had input into seeing what happened in that one. And
Well, no, we didn't have input into it as such. We were aware that work was ongoing, and certainly supportive of seeing that document that is you know, something to submit to this review panel and to the province generally is important for KSA success. Likewise, the similar document that was prepared for NUC a year and a half earlier with assistance from the Ministry of, was it the Ministry of Economic Development? I think it was. That was a very important assistance to NUC's preparation as well. So, you know, any institution that's new and trying to make a case for itself has to prepare a very detailed and well thought out business plan and elaboration of its program and development. So both of those now are in place.
Greg, your role here tonight is with the Watershed Committee. You serve as a consultant for Nelson's Watershed Committee. I understand there was a meeting about a week ago now, I guess, at the Capitol Theatre. Maybe you can tell us just a little bit about what transpired there.
The meeting a week ago was sponsored by K+. Their intent was to bring together a number of people involved in watershed issues here in the West Kootenays to talk about their experiences, and there were people there from Glade, from Nelson, and various other places. I gave a very short presentation on the situation in Nelson's watershed these days. In general, the city is still very concerned. The city of Nelson is responsible for supplying water to the citizens of Nelson, but on the other hand, they have no control over the development that occurs in the watershed. And it appears that if logging or forest harvesting goes ahead in the watershed, as the Ministry of Forests would like it to, we may be faced with a very large expenditure in the next few years, possibly $10 million for a filtration plant. This past year, we've seen a bit of progress in the negotiations. These have been ongoing since the mid-1970s or late 1970s. And this year, we finally got our third company who is potentially going to be the developer of the watershed. It's Kootenay Valley Sawmills now. And at this point, Kootenay Valley Sawmills has been given logging rights in Clearwater Creek, was an alternate watershed for the city of Nelson. We're not drawing water from there at the moment. And the city saw that as a possible area to test the Ministry of Forests process, to see whether the city was going to have enough input to be able to control the process to protect our water. And unfortunately, the experience there has not been positive from the city's point of view. I don't think there's going to be any major disasters in Clearwater Creek, but on the other hand, the city's input was not accepted on the level we would like to see it accepted. Things proceeded in spite of some stands by the city. There were some mistakes made. There was material put in the creek, which we felt was quite unacceptable. Following that experience, the City Council has reaffirmed their stand opposing any development in the watershed. And as most people know from the story in the Daily News, have recently met with the Premier to press our case to have the watershed removed from the timber harvesting areas, active timber harvesting areas.
That's certainly something to look forward to for 93. I know that was a significant meeting for the city, I would believe, to have had an audience with the Premier for an hour. I know you attended that meeting, Marty. What sense did you leave that meeting with?
Well, I think we got a very good hearing. We had in excess of an hour of the Premier's time, and we know that he had a half-hour briefing with some of his officials before the meeting. So to get an hour and a half of uninterrupted time with the Premier and two ministers isn't something that happens every day. And so, I think the mere fact that that amount of time was given is an indication that they're looking seriously at the situation. We wanted to make it clear to the government that the city's concerns it wasn't just the kind of classic logger versus environmentalist situation you're looking at there, but rather there's a long-standing concern for the health. There's very serious financial implications for the Nelson taxpayers as an immediate consequence of the anticipated activities. And we felt that the whole reversal of Nelson's economy, and in fact the future of Nelson's economy, is directly connected to the perception that people have about this community and its lifestyle and about its natural environment. And we feel that the status of our watershed and the purity of the water that we provide in this community is an important part, and certainly has very important symbolic value for this community. And we were making the case, in effect, that for the province to anticipate logging in our watershed in the present economic context of Nelson is about the same as what happened in 1983 and 84 when the province closed the university and Westar closed the sawmill. The same kind of economic impact is a possible outcome for the city. And so we were really trying to make the point that these things are all interconnected, and Nelson as an effective economic phenomenon could be impacted in a very negative way by this activity. So we felt they needed to understand that that City Council hasn't been taken over by some environmental extremists or something. This position, it goes back almost 50 years in this city, and it is for a lot of very sound reasons.
Well, in fact, there are communities that do have jurisdiction over their watershed within this province. Is that not right? Vancouver,
That's
Victoria?
correct. Vancouver and Victoria have jurisdiction over their watersheds.
What have they been doing there?
Vancouver has been actively managing their watershed and have been doing some logging. The main difference is that it's completely under the control of the City of Vancouver, or I should say the Greater Vancouver Water Board. However, they've just gone through a review process, mainly under public pressure, which has very narrowly, by one vote, agreed to continue with the logging, and they've been looking very carefully at probably reducing and limiting their practices. Victoria has just gone through a review of the logging in their watershed again, which is controlled by the Water Board in Victoria. The consultants who did the study there have recommended to stop logging in the areas from which they're drawing water, and I believe the City of Victoria is considering those recommendations right now.
You raised an important point last Wednesday, Greg, at the Capitol Theatre, and that was the fact that our water had been tested how many times last year? 100 times last year, and all with?
During 1991, the Ministry of Health had tested city water over 100 times, and it was not shown to have any biological contamination in any sample, which was one of the best records for any community in in the West Kootenays. I believe there was something like 20 community water supplies last year who were under boil orders, and over half of them didn't meet Ministry of Health standards, even minimum standards.
So certainly not only important to our economy, which is not to be put aside, but to our health, more importantly, to have that pristine
Absolutely.
watershed. Well, education and water quality.
Now, we look forward to hopefully a healthy year next year. Hopefully the water will be protected. As far as, do you get involved in the city schools, the school district schools? What is the relationship between the city and School Board 7?
No, we don't have any direct. We do have a liaison for situations where there's some joint concern, but no, the school board's obviously a separate elected body, and they're not part of the city's responsibility.
Right. Well, we went out into the streets on Friday, I guess it was, and just asked the citizenry what they thought of 92 and what 93 is going to be like. I think we're going to cut to a break and see what some of the Nelsonites have to say. If you want to call in and tell us what your year's been like, of what year 93 may look like, give us a call. The number is 354-4200. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
92 was a good year, and I hope that 93 will be even better.
And why was it such a good year for you?
Because nothing bad happened.
Great. And yourself?
Yeah, I guess I'd be about say the same. Yeah.
Yes. How about you? Did you have a good 1992? Are you looking forward to Christmas? Yes? Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You're going to look like
Excellent.
Why was it a good year?
I got some unexpected money.
Great.
Weather is nice. Skiing's coming.
And 93 is going to be a good year?
That's it.
Well, 1992 was great.
Yes, why was that?
It just was, and everything turned out good for me.
93, what's it look like for you?
The same, good.
Pretty good.
Why was it a good year?
I don't know, it just was.
Yes, and what's
Things
90
seem to go well.
And what's 93 look like?
93.
Hard to say. I don't know.
How about yourself?
I look forward to every year.
Yes?
Oh, how different.
Oh, terrible.
Was it a bad year? Why
Very
was that?
Oh, I lost a son and a few other things, but
You hope 93 is going to be a better year, I presume.
it's got to be.
Oh, I had a pretty good 1992.
And why was that?
Oh, I don't know. Things went pretty well. My family's doing well, and I had a good year, so I'm happy with 92.
What's 93 look like?
Oh, 93 looks pretty good as well. I haven't got anything particularly wild or crazy or different to say, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looks like a good winter and lots of good skiing and so on.
Very good so far.
Why was that?
Well, I don't know. The weather was good, health was good, everything is booming here. And
Great.
what else?
What
is
about
there?
next year? How does that look?
Pardon?
How about 1993? Are you optimistic
Well,
for
I'm
that?
a senior citizen, so it looks pretty good.
It was kept fairly steady, I think, in most respects. I think a lot of new people, a lot of people from out of town, just as much as perhaps in town as well. It's good to see the out of town traffic.
And what's 93 look like so far?
Well, so far so good. It's a little early to tell, isn't it? But it looks promising. The town seems busy. A lot of people building and things, so we hope for the best.
92's been fine, as far as I'm concerned. I'm retired, and it's been a great year.
Great. And what about 93? What's that look like for you?
Same, yeah. Should be great.
Great. And you know?
Just health-wise, it's hard to pinpoint. Everything went well.
And 93?
93, I hope, is even better.
Great. And yes.
Quite challenging health-wise, but very good in spite of that. And that was, in a spiritual way, it was very, very good. So I'm anticipating that it's going to continue.
Wonderful.
And I really do have that strongly. It's just a strong belief that I think it's going to continue.
Wonderful. And you? Welcome back to Nelson Nightline. We're back looking at the year 1992 and looking up ahead at 1993. Our guests tonight, second set of guests tonight, are Lonnie Lang, Nelson's shop owner, and also the president of the Nelson Business Improvement Area, and Sean Dwyer, the chair of Nelson's Advisory Planning Commission and the Waterfront Committee. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thanks, Morrie.
Yes.
Sean, you chair the Advisory Planning Commission. For those that might not know what exactly that is, maybe you could just fill them in on what it is that committee actually does.
Okay, well, it's a committee of 9 people that council appoints, and generally we have referred to as items about zoning or land use that council wants considered in more depth. and we make recommendations, and then they take those into account when they make their decisions. So apart from those specific details, if someone wants to build something that doesn't fit in the zoning and need a rezoning, we deal with that. And then also advisory planning commissions, when they were created by the province in the Municipal Act, are also meant to deal with official community plans, which is a document that's supposed to guide council over a 5 to 10 year period and in broad terms set objectives for the city. So this past year we developed a fairly extensive public process so that we could get a set of guidelines that everyone would accept and that took into account everyone's concerns. We had meetings, we divided the city up into 6 areas and had a number of public meetings and received briefs from the Chamber of Commerce and other groups. And we gave all that to a planner and his staff in Vancouver, and they drafted up a plan. We just received the first draft. And that's undergoing a couple small changes, and that will be distributed or be available early in the year, and we'll do another series of meetings before the final draft comes out.
Can you give us any highlights of that first draft?
Well, it's generally the public meetings, people are mostly concerned about preserving the quality of life here, the charm of the city, its greenness, the heritage aspects, and generally the small town character of the city. But they're also aware that there's a lot of people moving here and there's a lot of pressures to build and develop. And so the plan, a lot of it deals with how to accept that growth without destroying the charm of the city. So the overall goals of the plan are generally laid out in that way, and then there's a number of policies for each area that deal with those concerns.
So what's ahead for 93? What's the timeline on the...
Well, we should be into another set of public meetings in February or March, and the second draft will happen April or May, and hopefully have a final draft shortly after that too. That will also have a final public meeting before council adopts it. And also a large focus of the plan in terms of newness is the waterfront and getting that in shape, getting it to be more people friendly and getting continuous access along it. And the community plan lays it out in broad terms for a plan for the waterfront, and also calls for a more detailed plan to be done. So that will take up a lot of the waterfront committee's time in 93, and hopefully we'll be able to get community groups involved and actually get something happening on the waterfront next year.
Does that mean doing some development on the waterfront?
Well, I would hope so. There seems to be a firm consensus that there should be more pedestrian use along it, so I think some small phase at least should be started in terms of a walkway next year. I think we would need to raise some money in the community first before the city would put a sizable amount of money into it. And I think we'll probably be approaching service clubs and groups and try and get the community behind getting that started. And next year might be a bit ambitious, but I'm hoping to see something.
So that'd be a walkway, cycling way from the dump end of the waterfront down towards the Lakeside Park, I guess. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, eventually, I think fixing up the Lakeside Park walkway a bit more, a bit more landscaping, and then getting things through the mall. And as far as the wharf would probably be an initial phase, and we're hoping to be able to create a better shoreline in front of the airport and make that accessible eventually.
In your city plan, is there anything that's verboten? I know in Whistler they said no McDonald's in Whistler. Their plan says no McDonald's. Is there things that we definitely should be avoiding here? Are we going to allow McDonald's? And somebody's asked me that once. There's no McDonald's here. There's one in Trail. We have another chain opening up right now, a food store chain.
I don't think the official community plan can address issues like that. It's more zoning and a future vision, or am I wrong there?
No, it doesn't get right down to specifics, and it also it can't force the city to do anything in particular. It can in a sense forbid things in terms of if they wanted to do something contrary to the plan, they'd have to have a public meeting and explain it. Commercial development, there's guidelines set out for where it should happen, but not in detail what things in particular should happen. But there's talk about the, for example, the Marlake properties. There's part of the plan envisions in this first draft that it eventually be something residential. We'll see how people react to that, and if that goes ahead, that might then be in terms of, I think people don't want to see a heavy industry in there again.
Well, you need some sort of tax base to help build the waterfront, obviously. So if there was part of the waterfront turned into the Granville Islands type condos and townhouses, the tax base could
and something like that might happen either in that area and also perhaps in the central area, depending if when the land gets freed up from BC where the truck yard is.
Now you also have a part of your committee that looks at store frontage and signage when somebody's putting up a sign?
Well, I'm on another committee, the Heritage Advisory Committee, yes, lately, and we do look at that kind of things.
Just keeping in the
within the downtown to keep, and they've been doing a really good job. I think downtown looks really nice.
Yes. Now downtown is one of the neighborhood areas that you referred to, Sean, and that's an important area, of course, for the business improvement area.
That
association.
is the business improvement area.
Yes. Did the BIA have input into the downtown meeting, or had it come on stream at that time?
We were just coming together.
Yeah, we weren't very organized. Some of our members may have been there, but I'm not sure. I wasn't. Oh, yes, I was.
Tell us, what is the BIA? I've seen them elsewhere. I know when I was in Kitsilano and on the chamber there was a business improvement area where they fixed up streets. We've done this before in downtown. This is a second phase or a separate?
The BIA is totally different from the downtown revitalization. It was a provincially legislated program of collecting money through taxation for promotions mainly. So, excuse me, we have a geographical boundary area, and all the businesses within that area are charged through their corporate taxes, and that money is given over to us to spend in whatever way we feel best. And it's mainly special events, promotion, advertising, things like that.
And the area is bounded by what part of the Nelson?
From the foot of Baker Street to the end of Baker Street at the opposite end down by Dr. Walker's office, and the lower half of Victoria Street and both sides of Vernon Street, and all the side streets in between. So.
And what sort of events are going to be planned for the new year to help?
Well, we've co-sponsored Snowfest, so that's
great.
the first one next year. We just finished doing our Christmas celebration last Friday, and
that was
all
the
You've
shop
got the
till you
pin
drop.
on,
right?
And she's got the pin, Spirit of Christmas.
So that was a successful promotion. I presume I know a lot of people were downtown picking up bargains. So being able to do that brings the people into the city is the obvious purpose of it.
Right, and to create a nice atmosphere downtown. We're looking for groups to come down and sing in the next week, and just have that presence on Baker Street to make people sort of remind them of the old-fashioned shopping experience from years gone by.
How has business been, both as member of the BIA and as a shop owner in town? How has business been in the past 4 or 5 months?
I've found it to be excellent in my business, and I'm hearing very positive things from a lot of the businesses downtown. There's a definite increase of shoppers. Parking is again a problem because there are so many people shopping downtown. I'm up about 15% over last year, so it has been a very good year.
So the recession hasn't affected the Kootenay, or this part of the Kootenay, surprisingly, right?
Not in the lingerie business, anyhow.
Well, what do they say when times are tough? They go to movies and look for things to do to keep preoccupied. I guess maybe that's why
There
your
you
business
go.
is successful. Fits in the entertainment section. But-
Although I am hearing it from many businesses, so I think it's a pretty positive outlook all around.
So now you have also hired a staffer to coordinate some of the BIA stuff. Can you tell us about that person?
Jennifer Young is a part-time coordinator. She's on half-time, and basically she's our gopher and organizer. She does all the running around for us, and she put together the entire Christmas celebration and little things, like we're trying to do monthly things that don't necessarily cost us a lot of money, but just remind people that downtown is there. Next month there's a photo contest, and all the photos have to be taken of downtown Nelson and things like that. So it's you should see monthly activities with Jennifer in the forefront.
Great.
I think it's important to mention that both the Advisory Planning Commission, BIA, and Education and Watershed Committees, they're all volunteer committees.
All these
The
people,
community
yes.
members participate in. The BIA happens to, with that tax levy, be able to pay somebody to help them out. But all of these committees are volunteer.
Working for the betterment of the whole of the city and our local area. That's wonderful.
What issues, Lonnie, does the BIA specifically see within the context of the official community plan that may not be addressed, or to your knowledge not be addressed as yet, that you'll be looking forward to participating in the next round of public meetings?
Something that we're dealing with right now is the sidewalk cafes, and some people are talking about blocking off Baker Street. I can see that as being a contentious issue with a lot of the merchants downtown.
I certainly enjoyed it last Friday.
Yeah, it's great for a few hours. So I think changes to downtown for, you know, whether it's blocked off to parking or whether there are more sidewalk cafes built into the streetscape, signage and storefronts and how they're designed.
Parking.
So, and parking.
Well, we'll
very
have
much
to get
so.
Chris back on, because I've had a number of people say to me, you must do a show on parking. So that's something for us to look forward to doing
Yes,
in the
definitely.
new year as well.
With people moving into town, it just seems inevitable, but the problem, what are we going to do with the cars?
Well, I guess I've heard it said, in fact, Lonnie, you may have said it, thank heavens we have a parking problem.
Yes.
I mean, better to have that issue than
It means we're
have
busy.
empty stalls there, yeah.
Do you consort with store owners in Trail and Castlegar and compare notes and see how business is doing there?
Not really. Not as far as the BIA is concerned. Yeah, maybe the chamber does, but we don't. Or haven't.
Not every community has a BIA.
No. No.
In fact, there's not very many within the province, is that right?
They're becoming more popular now. Trail has one, I know. And they've had a few problems with theirs, but I think they're back on track. And I know they've been doing some Christmas promotions downtown in Trail as well. So, but yeah, BIAs can work very effectively, but you first have to prove it to the members of the BIA, and that's your merchants and landlords, and the consumers are going to shop there anyhow. So it's just, that's the hardest part, is getting the merchants on side.
I remember you mentioning something when the press release came out that the BIA was on stream, and I can't think exactly what it was, but working together cooperatively or collectively or something, you really...
We haven't had a common downtown voice for a long time. The Downtown Business Association folded before I moved back here. I'm not even sure how many years ago. And each of the 252 businesses downtown were working independently on their own all the time, and it's really nice to have that common voice.
Excellent.
The 252 businesses in the core of Nelson, are there? Wonderful. Wow.
40 eateries or restaurants.
40
which
restaurants?
is,
Yeah.
In the
amazing as well. Now that counts everything from the Civic Center, snack bar,
Okay.
too, but still, for a community this size, that's quite a number. Anyway, are we going to another?
Yeah,
break?
we're going to break again and listen to more Man in the Street interviews right now. And when we come back, we're going to have two more guests on the show to again look at 92 and what 93 will bring in. We're going to cut, and we'll see you again in a couple minutes.
Thank you both very much.
Thanks for coming on board again. Lonnie, Sean.
Oh, ours was good personally, or both?
Personal and
personally and business was very nice, yes.
Why do you think it was such a good year?
We were busy. People like our product, and we have a good product to give. And photographs are always sentimental value, so we feel we've done quite well.
Yeah, and what does 1993 look like for you?
it's hard to foresee with all the different adversities in our economy. We're doing quite well in Nelson, I think, although there are little gray areas and undertones visible. But we're always hopeful, we're always optimistic, and we always try to do the best we can.
Well, our 92 was really busy getting the store ready, and building it took approximately 45 days. We're busy now. We're doing our pre-opening party today. Should probably be busy till the end of this year, and hopefully next year we'll be just as busy.
Pretty good. I got lots of work in, so I'm happy. 93 looks good. Lots of snow. I'm happy. Skiing.
Great.
School in January. Down on the coast.
So it looks like an exciting year for you.
Yeah.
And how was 1992 for you?
It was good.
92 was okay, and I'm hoping 93 will be a lot better.
Great. Was it just nothing special this year, or nothing bad?
Nothing special.
I had a bad year.
Why was that?
I got kicked out of my house.
Oh, that's sad. Do you have a place to stay now?
No, I don't. I'm looking.
Looking for a rental place or something?
Yeah.
Okay, and 93 going to be better for you?
I hope so.
It's been great for me.
Why is that?
My good years. Well, I'm producing a feature film, and just in every way things are going up. I'm doing a lot of personal searching and spiritual searching and coming up with, I think, satisfactory answers.
Great.
Oh, for me personally, it was a great year. Year of learning and lots of mistakes and new friends. And for the Salvation Army, same thing really in our church. It's exciting to see new people coming.
And what does the new year look like for you?
Learning from those mistakes from last year.
Great.
Well, because it's Nelson. Everything is up in Nelson. Everything is wonderful. I don't think there isn't a place in the world that you'd rather live than right here in Nelson.
1992 was pretty good, and I hope to have a good 1993.
I'm optimistic. I think 93 will be good.
Everything's going our way, it seems. We're fixing a house, we're doing this, we're looking forward to 90.
Not here.
So we're going the right direction, I guess.
Well, 92 was a good year for me. It was a big year of change. I went to Nova Scotia for 10 months, and I'm writing my first book, and it was a wonderful thing to get away from British Columbia for a while and to experience another province. It's good to be back. I think that it's been a really hard year for many, many Canadians because it's been massive layoffs. And I think it's going to be a hard year in 1993. I think it's going to be an exciting year when we defeat the Conservative government. And I think it's going to be a big fight against issues like the NAFTA agreement. And in this area, we're going to have some battles on our hands. So personally, it's been a really stimulating year, and I look forward to doing a lot more writing.
Great. Well, welcome back to Nelson Nightline. We have our almost our final set of guests. There's another special guest coming in. We have right now Geoff Sturgeon with the Kootenay Country Tourist Association and Margaret Stacey, the manager of the Capitol Theatre. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Maybe we'll start with you, Marg. Just tell us how your year was. Was it a successful year for the Capitol, and what's 93 look like?
Well, the Capitol is wonderful, but you see these lines?
The
camera doesn't show it up.
I don't intend to grow old before my time, but it was a wonderful year. Every day is a new adventure at the theatre, and every morning as much as I plan, I don't know what's going to happen within the next hour. Now, you're supposed to have a handle on what's happening in the day, but the theatre's not like that. If something doesn't get done right away, everybody notices about an hour later.
How have the shows been selling, though? I mean, have you
really well?
You've had an impressive lineup.
Yes, it's been varied, and it's not. You have to understand, it's not me or my society that's doing all this. Although I come backed with a huge support group that is just so good. And without it, we're nothing. But it's the renters who think of bright ideas to put in the theatre, and they're thinking up more and more every day. And so I get quite staggered with it.
It's not just plays and musical events. People are using the theatre for much more.
Last weekend, it was a center for meditation. We had a yoga who walked with Gandhi. On Sunday night, it becomes a church with the traditional candlelight service from the Covenant Evangelical Church. And it's been a film center, and we have little conventions. You can't do big ones there, you do little ones. And meeting places and things like that.
What's the highlight of the year for you at the Capitol? If
Well,
you
for
choose
me,
one event.
For me, personally, it's the panto that we just finished, Jack and the Beanstalk, because my personal priority, which I tend to inject in a lot of things, is work with kids, because I can't help being a teacher. It's originally what I started out doing, and it keeps coming back into the work we do.
I heard fabulous things about Jack and the Beanstalk. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. Or
Actually,
get the
I've never
kids
seen
up
the show.
there.
I was backstage.
You're not in it then.
I am.
Yeah.
What's coming up in '93? Some of the bigger shows that you know that are
We
booked
have
already.
2 shows that I'm going to find very difficult to sell, but I have a feeling because they're so difficult, I'll probably put a big effort into them. The first one is called Berlin Angels, and this is not a fluffy comedy. This is post-war Berlin. And actually, it's very timely because we're all looking at the 50th anniversary of the end of the last big war in the world. And Berlin Angels has been to Essen and Frankfurt and sold out to the Germans, and it's coming back through Canada. It's a Canadian production, and it's going back to Berlin and then on an extended American tour. So it's coming here.
Coming to Nelson.
And it's got a Nelson man in it. And I believe the music, I just found out yesterday, the music was written by a brother of a Nelson.
And who is the Nelson fellow?
Raymond Milne. He was the last person to play Jesus in Godspell before our Godspell production last summer, about 11 years ago. I saw it, and he's a dancer now. And John Lang is the music writer, and I believe he's Judy Brown's brother.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've read a story about Ray Milne.
Yeah.
His mother Shirley Milne, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's a hard one to sell because it's such serious matter. But again, we can't always do light, airy comedies and things like that. We have to have, real forum for tough stuff.
And it also serves as a meeting hall for people,
Yeah.
the theater, a place where people can get together.
Well, actually, half the time I can't get the audiences back into the theater to see the rest of the show because it's a busy meeting. So that was the first big thing. The second big thing that we're trying to put in earlier this year is another one called Promised Land. And it's actually Terra Promessa, but my Italian's not wonderful. And it's a co-production of an Italian group from Italian theater company from Turin and French-Canadian company called Théâtre de la Marmaille from Montreal. And it hasn't got any words in it, and you're only seeing about 4 feet off the floor of the stage, and it's like looking through a letterbox, a slit, and it's full of noise and action. It's 1 hour long. It's the history of the world in an hour, of the billion-year review, and it stars a rock, huge big boulder in the middle. There are people in it. So this thing is another one that's kind of it's taken me that long to explain it to you. How am I going to do it to the rest of the people? And the other big events are the things I love best, the summer theatre school. We're going to repeat that format and another panto, which we haven't selected
for
yet.
next Christmas time.
Oh, wonderful.
Now, Geoff, you've come here with the KCTA. You just joined on, about a year ago, I guess?
Yeah, it was a little over a year ago, yes.
Yeah. The KCTA, maybe just for our listeners, just explain what the association is and what it does, and then we'll ask you a few questions, perhaps.
Okay. Well, Kootenay Country Tourist Association's mandate is to bring tourists into the region, and our region, the Kootenay boundary area, goes from Rock Creek all the way through to Creston, and then as far up as Nakusp and the Lardo area. And we basically are responsible for generating interest in what the government calls near-in markets, which are the rest of British Columbia, Alberta, Washington State, Oregon, and Idaho. And we have an association of tourist-related businesses. We have 170 members. And we put a marketing plan together to promote the products on the umbrella of promoting Kootenay Country as a region for people to find awareness of the area and then get them to come in and explore all of the many wonders that we have here. And the other part of it is that we administer for the province of British Columbia the Partners in Tourism marketing program on their behalf in the region. And we're one of 9 tourism regions in the province. That's in a nutshell what we do.
So you're just one of the groups helping to bring the tourists into Nelson and this part of the West Kootenay.
Right.
Right now, I guess it's winter time. Your main thrust is skiing. How's that going?
Well, it's going actually. We've set our marketing plan in for the winter, and we're promoting skiing. We just did the major launch about a week and a half ago in the Spokane market, and it's been quite promising. The snow at Red Mountain is excellent. The Whitewater hopefully will get on stream and get going on by the 19th. And we've even had strong interest in the cross-country skiing, and as well as the heli ski and the snowcat skiing by Nacuspin in Meadow Creek area. So we really feel that there's a strong possibility for getting some excellent numbers this winter out of the markets.
What's been a highlight for 92? And I know it's not the budget cuts that hit all ministries.
That's probably the low light, but it has been a struggle. But I guess out of that struggle comes what I would think is the highlight. I mean, basically through the problems of having the budget cuts and having to face that reality, we've had to really come and work together. And I think that's basically helped us, which will push us, I think, to make us more successful in 93, is the fact that when you've got an ever-shrinking dollar, that you've got to really hang together as a regional group to promote your product in a real solid voice out there to your marketing masses, because with a limited dollar you have to be very, very effective. And so we're really focused in what we're doing. And the positive thing about that is it's brought the association together and the members together in a tighter unit with their common goal. So I think for 93, even though we're suffering some real financial problems, I think hopefully it'll allow us to be a stronger association.
What about the numbers? Are they tourists up over last year?
We haven't got the final year-end figures, but they are up slightly over last year. It depends. Places like Nelson had a very strong summer. Places as well in the boundary area, Grand Forks, Greenwood, those areas were up. We had Nacuspin was very strong. Creston had for some reason was down, and a little bit, and same with Salmo. But overall, everybody was up, which is really positive considering that it was still a tough year.
We all tend to focus on the outdoor beauty and the skiing, golfing, and all the rest, but arts is a real strong drawing card for Nelson, particularly, but for the entire region as well.
Yeah, it's a strong. It's strong for the whole region. We did a coupon reply card in our vacation guide last year, and we had over 2,000 replies to it, and 38% wanted more information on arts and crafts and museums and galleries. It's a very, very strong program, and a lot of people are interested in it. And along with the heritage, it's an ideal way of coming and exploring the whole region. Yeah. And I mean, we're very fortunate here with the amount of people that have settled into this region and had, with the arts and crafts and have their own galleries, and so we've got some real prominent artists here that create a lot of interest out there.
You must see a tremendous number of tourists that come through the capital in the summertime.
Busloads this year.
Yes.
Yeah. They come in, and you know where they really like to go is down in the costume department.
Yes.
And we've had requests for repeat visits to the costume department. To hell with the theater, to hell with the heritage. Downstairs to see.
Well, that is an amazing collection of costumes. I don't know if either one of you have been down there.
It's a whole different world. Talking about tourism, I always wondered why arts and tourism actually tended to be partnered in ministries, for example, because I always felt that arts should be in the health ministry, saying health and welfare.
Health and wellness.
rather than tourism, because I don't know why they tag them together necessarily, because there are a lot of things that, that you go and visit mines with your tourists, and you go and stuff like that. So it wasn't necessarily a clear partnership or a clear.
Tourism's very creative, though. I mean,
so is accounting.
We've got to get those brochures and create the marketing and awareness program.
But there is that too, I do believe that the arts that happen in Nelson really happen for the community members themselves, and the tourists that they bring, usually they're visiting relatives or they're
passing through on business or something, and something nice to do rather than go to the pub every night if you're visiting town.
Sometimes we go and drop a calendar by those poor lonely visiting judges. They come.
Yes.
Well, I think for Nelson, part of their most immediate market is right within the West Kootenays, to come in and go to the Capitol Theatre and go to dinner and we don't have to look that far afield.
Well, even in British Columbia, I mean, British Columbians are the biggest tourist generators for the province. I mean, 65% of the of tourists in the province are British Columbians. So, I mean, that's part of the job that we have, is to create the awareness of people in the Okanagan and in the Kootenays and the Rockies to come into our area and experience it, whether it's arts and crafts or skiing or golfing or hiking, fishing, whatever. And they're easy to get to because it's they're familiar with where we are, and it's just letting them be aware of what kind of products we have to offer them.
Your main target market is just, I guess, below the border. Do you go stretch, how far south do you stretch into the States to draw tourists, and I guess in Alberta too?
Well, it depends on the product. The vast majority of our product goes into Spokane, Sandpoint, Idaho area, and some of it into Seattle. That is the major area, especially the Spokane market, because it's a natural tunnel. We've got, because of our wonderful beauty, it also creates barriers for east and west, and so we've got a natural valley flow for our tourists. But we're going all the way into California and Texas with some product that we've used with Red Mountain and ski area, as well as Kootenay Heli-Ski and the snowcat operators. And even now with golf, we're starting to take that a little further afield, because we're finding that people will come up here on a longer vacation and maybe go through the BC Rocky areas and come into the Kootenays on a golf tour, for example.
We have how many golf courses in this part of the West Kootenay?
We have 18 golf courses. This is 18.
It's
and
amazing,
they're
I know.
incredible.
Yeah. A friend of mine was in who plays courses throughout the United States, and he went to the Castlegar course, which I've never been to, and he says that was one of the best courses he's ever played at. And then there's the Balfour course, which is really neat.
Nelson's just
There's the one near New Denver, where it's just on the bluff looking over the mountains and stuff like that.
We're very, very fortunate. We've got, as I say, we've got 18 golf courses, all with, I mean, you can golf 5 or 6 courses staying in any one location, like Nelson. And as you mentioned, the new Nelson golf course is going to be fabulous with the new 9. Creston just put on another 9 last year, and it's opened up last year, and it's got rave reviews. And of course, we've got Kootenay Springs, which has brought most of the golfers into this area, but now they've got more of a reason to come here and spend a longer period of time.
To do the tour.
Yeah. Christina Lake, fabulous course.
Stay longer, go to the Capitol, go to the...
Absolutely.
Go to dinner,
visit
shop.
all our stores and stuff. What do you foresee for 93? After the winter season, I know the recession in the States, they're still claiming it's on. We have a new president down there, and he's going to work his way out of it, he claims. What's your forecast for growth?
I think we have potential in the Kootenays. I think that's you're going to see tourism being kind of flat, basically because of the problem of the province not marketing that much. But I think the Kootenays is kind of an untapped resource anyway, and not that many people know about it. I'm really excited about what we're doing for 93, because we're creating a new vacation guide that's more community oriented, with all of the communities in our area getting more hands-on involved in the product, so we can kind of tell their story and get it out to the public. And so I'm really looking forward to a real positive 93.
Excellent. Are we ready for our special guest
Our
now?
special guest has arrived. I think I heard something on the roof.
Oh, really?
I heard something land on the roof of the building here.
Oh, no. It's a good thing I've been a good boy.
And look who we have coming in. It's Santa Claus himself. Welcome to Nelson Nightline, Santa Claus.
How are you?
Santa Claus with his guitar.
Yes.
This is a surprise, actually. We have not been told about this.
No,
you haven't. I hope you have a good singing voice.
Oh my God.
I'm to sing.
What? Yes, he's going to sing
You're
us off
part of the
air.
arts community. We expected you to do the singing.
I don't.
here.
Prerequisite wasn't a singing voice.
Better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Making a list, checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees
I'm waiting. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been battered, so be good for goodness sake. Hey!
You better watch out.
Morrie, can you
Better not cry. Better not fall. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
think we got a powerhouse
That's
Santa
great.
to round us out, eh?
Welcome to the Kootenay Santa.
Oh, that's excellent.
Thank you. Are you just on a... Are you relocating here?
I've been looking around. I've been looking around for a place.
And what do you think
Very
of
difficult to find a place.
rental or buying?
Well, rentals are high priced.
What's your range?
What's my range?
Well, he's got a lot of people that go in there. No, that's a music.
Waterfront?
Yes. I just want to tell you all, you better behave.
Yes, sir.
And the little ones, be good. And have a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Nelson.
Thank
Merry
you very
Christmas,
much, Santa.
Santa.
Christmas to
Thank
you
very
too,
much.
Santa.
We'd like to wish all our viewers a Merry Christmas. We'll be on again next year. We have a whole 5 minutes to go. Oh my goodness.
You're gonna
Before,
have to
maybe
sing
we'll
another
ask you a couple
song.
more songs to sing, Santa, but just before we go, I have to remind everybody that our show will be rebroadcast Friday in the morning, and instead of normally on Sunday, it'll be rebroadcast on Saturday, because Sunday is the first day, the Somalia Relief Telethon on Rogers Cable and on Shaw Cable here on Sunday between 4 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So maybe you can phone in and pledge to the Somalia Relief Telethon. Maybe you can leave us with one more song, perhaps, Santa.
Okay, let's all sing.
You must have a Kootenay song, Santa.
Yeah. Kootenay Christmas?
A strange thing happened last year. There's a story told about the pole about Santa and his sleigh. How the reindeer couldn't haul the gifts he received last Christmas Day. Electric trains, model planes, gifts for Dad and Mom. Rock guitars, talking cars, and a million toys to come. The elves last Christmas Eve were loading Santa Claus's sleigh. He was snoozing merrily in a great big feather bed. The alarm went off, he jumped up, it was time to go. But an elf came in with a sad little grin, said there's something you should know. The sleigh is so full, the deer can't pull the big load through the air. Santa scratched his head, then he said, ho ho ho, no problem there. They thought he flipped, he pulled a rocket ship from way down in the sleigh. With a mighty blast, old Santa passed the moon along his way. Space age Santa, flying up to the moon. Space age Santa, he'll be back real soon. Space age Santa. Everybody, again, have a Merry Christmas. How much more time you got?
Keep singing.
One more song, and then we'll call it quits here.
You'll sing us off the air.
Yeah, it's too good to miss the opportunity to have Santa sing on our show.
Do you have a...
Jingle bells,
jingle all the way.
oh, what fun it is to ride on a one-horse open sleigh.
Hey,
jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way.
Bobtail ring.
Making spirits
Done
bright.
this before.
What fun it is to laugh and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells.
Just did this at my kids' concert. They had bells. Everybody had bells.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas to everybody, and Happy New Year. We're still on.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mary. You held it all in together for us.